All right, we got in on a very, very small, this is what we're looking for when we do this. We're looking to find a very small risk area.
Order filled.
All right, well, it stopped me out as I was trailing up, but this is exactly how we want to do it here. And that is off the 200, it bounced a little bit. I said, I'll get out if it keeps going down past these double candles. So I got in when it started turning green, and I put my stop right underneath that pivot. It shot all the way up to here, and I put my stop loss on the very next candle, and as you can see, it shot down and stopped me out, which is okay. We'll see if it would have went down past here, and it'll tell us what kind of choppy day we're starting off with or not. Stop loss was right here, and it's just chopping around in the first 5 to 10 minutes here. All right, paying attention to the 5-minute chart here, we can see that the pintails are looking real strong right here, and it may keep going down. I wanted to try to catch a trade before that. I wanted to try to catch a trade before it went down, but I was too busy trying to set this recorder here. Let's see if we can get a bounce or look for... All right, this is where it gets a little complicated. As you can see on this particular chart, it's got support right here in the 5-minute chart, even though it does look it looks bearish in the sense that these candles have a lot of pressure. If it breaks all of this and the close of yesterday, then we definitely will think about going short. But it looks bullish here, and over here on the 15-minute chart, you see it's got this uprising sense. It could break all this plateau here and shoot straight down, and that's something I'm going to be watching. But on the hourly chart, you know, it's still got this 3 moving averages, consolidation, build up, kind of going up. The thing about it is the 200 is starting to flatten out, and that's an interesting sign, but it's still very strong to the upside. And on the 2-minute chart, and it looks like a breakdown. So which charts do you go by? It looks like it's breaking down right here. It looks nice. It might go under that. I think it's worth a try. Find some short little narrow range bar here and think about shorting it. So I'm going to look to short, even though the other time charts look like they are on the long side. But I just got to find the right entry. Okay, in my opinion, I tried and it didn't work, but it was worth a try. You see this little narrow range bar right here? Once it broke down, it went up and tested. It looked like it went up and it was coming back down, and when it did, I shorted because I wanted it to go up and then come back down. It did come back down and turn red. It went up like it was going to come back up through this line, and then it came back down and started turning red. And I said, okay, let me do it after it comes back down and turns red. So I shorted and put my stop above that candle, and that particular candle was my stop loss. And it didn't work. It was a very tight, short little risk. So I'm happy with that trade, even though it didn't work out. And you can see on the 5-minute chart over here, and you can see right here what kind of day we're having. Very, very, very choppy. It looks like it's trending down though. So I need a narrow range bar that's going to work. And if I don't get one, then I will keep stopping out. And that's one of the problems with NVIDIA. It can keep chopping you out. It looks like it wants to break down though. It still does. I'm going with that. I'm going to try it one more time over here on the 2-minute chart. I shorted and I put my stop above that red candle. Right over here, you can see it better. It's this high this time. And if this doesn't work, I might just chill out on it because it's being way too choppy. And it might not have been the best trade to take, but if I think it's going to keep going down, this is the time to do it. Well, here on the here on the 2-minute chart, it looks like hopefully it looks like it's getting trapped below the 200 moving average right in this area. So if it keeps pushing down, I can bring my stop a little lower. But if it goes back over and closes, it's just so choppy. And on the 5-minute chart, it looks like it wants to keep breaking down. So you see this right here. It looks like it wants to keep breaking down. And I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't push down to the 200 moving average over here on the 15-minute chart, down here on the trend line. But we'll see. It's still a risky trade because we got mixed support and resistance signals, so it's mixed. If this doesn't work, and I can't trade until there's a better signal, it can't be in the middle of, support and resistance. It's got to be on one side or the other, really. Okay, let's see this candle over here. You can see this candle right here that shot up over the 20. Fortunately, I had my stop. I'm going to use that now. It reversed really quickly. I'm going to use that as my stop loss. So if it comes back over the top of that, I'm out.
In the last few weeks after rising for much of the year.
Well, it's good not to put them too close to the pivots. Look at it, it just went right over it a little bit. You've got this dip down and reversal candle, this little pintail hammer. That's not a good sign. It did it here, but it only went this high. And now it's doing it again here. If it's making lower highs, then it shouldn't really come up over the top of this one here. Now I'm questioning whether I should have kept it over the top of this pivot or not, but we'll just see. Eventually I have to move my stop loss to break even. Keeping an eye on the other time charts to see where it's hitting on support, and then I can break even. I like that it's staying under the 200 moving average right here. That's a good sign. Very good sign, and it's just so choppy. One of the problems is here we go with the Qs. The Qs and Nasdaq are trending up real nicely, and that could drag Nvidia right on up, and we'll see if it does or not. But you got to keep an eye on the markets too, and the markets are looking strong, so I don't know what's going to happen now. All right, because the markets are strong, I'm going to put my stop loss on this pivot right here, which is where the market had come up to the 50 moving average. Come back up to the 200 moving average on the 5-minute. I'm sorry, the 2-minute. It is seems to be lower highs in this area, but it came up like 4 candles on this chart here, and so I pulled my stop down a little bit lower, and technically I should probably just break even and get out of this trade, and I hate to do that right before it moves, but I think that might be the better thing if the markets are going to look strong like that, or this is the time to be patient. So I really got to figure out what. All right, I'm just going to stay patient. This is really hard because the market looks like it wants to keep going up. Nvidia, okay, I think I'm going to try to just trail this as close as I can now. Okay, I pulled my stop down here. I pulled my stop from up here, and as soon as I saw it go green, I put it on break even, and as soon as it slammed down here, I got out of it. Okay, this is what we're looking like. This kind of a choppy. It went to the close, and that's a good place for things to reverse. A lot of times, it could continue to go down, but if we're trying to minimize our losses on a market like this, when we have mixed signals of support and resistance, and we're trying to take a trade in the mix, which is the hardest place to trade, you got to take what you can take, and you got to get it quickly, and you got to be careful. So I might not take any more trades on this until I got a clear understanding of which way it's really going to go. And this is quite common. It chops around, and then eventually goes. So this is the kind of spot I'm looking for, though. Right here, this very narrow range bar right here. Put the stop right above that. But because it's been impossible to do that until that moment, you know, with it just pulling back up and fooling you, it's tough to find it. It's tough to be patient and wait for it. And if it comes along, and then you get it on the slam down, because where did it bounce? It bounced on, the other time charts. You can see it bounced off the 200 moving average. It bounced off the 50 moving average. It bounced off a trend line. That doesn't mean it's not going to break and keep going. It just means that's where I'd exit and look for another trade. It bounced off the 20 moving average right here. Now, if it breaks down below this, and you got an open space here on the hour chart, so I'd be looking to continue to go short on this. And on top of that, we've got the markets also breaking down, which is really good. Everything's working together now for the short scenario. All right, we got some possibilities to kind of like catch it for the bounce. It's almost on the 200 moving average right here on the 5-minute chart, which you can't see. Oh, right here. Yeah, right here. It's bouncing, but on the 15-minute chart, it's broken below the 200 moving average. So I don't know how good that's going to actually help us. And it's breaking, the moving averages over here in the hourly chart, which gives it a lot of free area to drop down. These trend lines, it's a long ways to the pivot, long ways to the 200 on the hourly chart. We might just use this chart as our guide, even though and the 15 looks like it's breaking down. Price is actually closed below all three moving averages. So to try to go long on it right now, it's just for a quick bounce. Quick bounce off the 200 moving average on the 5-minute chart. It looks like it might consolidate to go down. We'll see. And on the 2-minute chart and everything, or let's look at the daily chart real quick. All right, the daily chart's got a couple trend lines. Actually trying to push through 2 trend lines right now. So it wouldn't be a bad place to try to catch a bounce. If it's going to keep going, it'll be a small bounce. It'll be a temporary bounce. You got to be quick to get out. Some kind of bounce right here could work. But right here, this is, and this chart, this is telling us it wants to keep rolling down. I'm thinking about just shorting and keep going with it. Let's see what happens. Okay, the bounce looks like it's doing a little bit better than the short. So I got stopped out on the short idea. As you can see, it did roll down here, ticked me in, and came right back up. Quick stop out. That's all you needed. It was only as high as this first candle. But if the bounce was to take place, that's a good place to bounce it too. Off the double trend lines here, off of the 5-minute chart 200 and the 20 moving average on the hourly chart. Looking good. So can't argue with that really. Going for another short attempt off the 8 moving average on the 2. I just believe that it's going to probably keep going down past the 200 on the 15-minute chart. And if it doesn't, it'll stop me out again, but it's got to come up over the top of this 8 moving average. So again, it's tough because it's got it right in the middle of support and resistance. And that's one of the hardest places to try to take a trade. Here's our Apple trade. Everything's going down real nicely, and even if you look at the other time charts, you can see that it's got a clear drop on all time charts. So this is what I need to do: is find charts, find setups, situations that are not complicated and mixed and unsure. So let that be a lesson to me today. Okay, clearly I'm over trading. I tried 3 times to short this thing in that area where the double trend line is on the daily chart, and all 3 failed. Now I'm going for a 4th attempt, so that's over trading, obviously. I need to stop doing that. So if this doesn't work, hopefully I can stop. Okay, short number 4 didn't work. I mean, it might continue to go down. It's just chopping around, very choppy. I need to either leave my stop losses higher, and I don't really like doing that, or just do not trade when there's not a clear signal. Let's take a look at Apple. Apple is a clear signal.